to spread that love around are polygamists.
Oh man, this is a lot. I sense a lot of white kids in this fact.
Some have 18. The Jesus, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as the Mormon faith is formally known, has practiced polygamy before the Civil War and banned it in 1890 when the federal government threatened to deny it from the state of Utah. Now, what's super interesting about polygamy, you've got the show Sister Wives. It's a lot of culture. We've got Big Love on HBO, like a lot of pop culture that's included polygamy. But here's some shit that I found super interesting. Polygamy is not legal anywhere in the United States.
Correct.
What is interesting, though,
I looked into it.
Is that
not joking.
What is interesting is that in Utah, specifically last February 2020, the law was significantly changed to reduce polygamy to the status of a traffic ticket.
Wait a second. So let me get this straight. Some cop knocks on a fucking farm barn door and goes, "Hey, how many wives you got in here?" He goes like this. Sir, 1 second. Is she here? She's here. 18. He's like, and the cop goes, "All right, it's about $50. What if I don't pay it?" That's fine.
Come take one. We're gonna take one.
Are you serious? That's the ticket?
When I read that shit, I was like, this is way better than I thought it was gonna be. Honest to God, I knew it wasn't legal because I learned from fucking Big Love and all that shit that it wasn't, and he would be hiding the wives. Big Love was really good, y'all. If you ever want to watch this show, it came out like 10, 15 years ago maybe, but it's about a man who got to go like house to house and like, because the shit ain't legal and he didn't want his families to separate. But long story short, it is it is not legal in Utah. A lot of Mormons live in Utah, so that's kind of why we all assume that it's a thing. But all Mormons aren't polygamists. But many polygamists consider themselves Mormon.
Right.
So mainstream Mormons actually reject the polygamous lifestyle because the church broke away from the mainstream, like the one that it's called the FLDS, Fundamentalist Church of the Latter-day Saints, broke away from mainstream Mormons and continued their polygamous practices. But yeah, they believe that, it's something that God wants them to do. So what's interesting is that polygamists, particularly the ones that we're seeing on TLC and shit like that, they got to make a lot of money.
A lot of wives to feed. A lot of wives to feed. It's like being a rapper.
Cody Brown, who is the guy, Jesus Christ. Cody Brown, who's the guy who does Sister Wives on TLC, makes $50,000 an episode, which goes a long way because he got to support 18 kids. So they've got side hustles like real estate, all kinds of stuff they're trying to do, but they dig into a lot of money. And to be honest, they live modestly. But here's something really funny. Costco in Utah is a home for polygamists.
Oh my God. I could just imagine just guys rolling around like fucking industrial boxes of toothpaste. Like, oh, who's that for? My wives.
Karen, Katie, Michelle, and Rach.
Michelle too, Rachel too. Yeah.
Now, in a polygamous family, it is also not considered a sin to end up marrying your brother's wife or marry your sister. Basically, here's how it works. When Cody's father, and this is from Sister Wives on TLC, wanted to basically make his family larger, one of his wives had to have her sister be married as well to him. And so they were really sister wives. You know what I mean? Wow. And in the eyes of God, it's acceptable. But what's super interesting about polygamous families is that the entire family does have to date the other wife to make sure they get along. It's not just up to the guy. The newbie must be courted by everyone, previous wives, children, and even like tax preparers, other people in their lives. Like everybody wants to know if this person will fit. It is very much part of their dating process. And if you've ever watched any shows on Netflix or anything that has to do with polygamy, you'll see examples of that. So it is pretty interesting, but Yeah.
Wow. It's like the show The Bachelor, only nobody gets a rose and no one leaves.
Oh, God, imagine you just get a baby
Dude, I mean, I'm glad you
and a
brought
Costco card.
the Costco is a must. They have to have if you're a polygamist, the moment you say I do, you get a Costco card.
That's sick.
We got to do a separate episode on just polygamy and polygamists and Mormons in general because I just think it's fascinating. I'm glad you brought it up, but like
Mormons are fascinating.
I I I I don't know if you know this, but there's polygamy was outlawed in America. Well, apparently now it's just a ticket, which is insane. Um, but a lot of Mormons, a lot of polygamists, I don't want to say Mormons, but just polygamists, left America and said, "All right, we're outlawed," and they went to Mexico, northern Mexico. And then there's a huge section of polygamists that have American roots in Mexico. And former president candidate, the guy who ran against Barack Obama, Mitt Romney, his dad was born in Mexico because it was part of a Mormon sect within Mexico.
Mm.
Dude, think of how much you love having multiple wives. You're like, you're outlawed. I guess we're going to Mexico. Like, you just can't cut
What
it
else
down.
can you do?
You can't cut it down. Just do two.
No, I mean, like
lay
that's
low
fucked
with
up.
three.
Like getting rid of one of your kids, one of your dogs. Like, what are you gonna do? You gotta move. This is how 90 Day Fiance is a thing. You get the fuck out. And Mexico is lit.
Oh my God. That's the crazy thing about polygamists is that the wives all become friends and they're all like, knitting and like, I don't know.
Oh, I love when they start fighting, Eddie. Oh, that shit is the best.
It's
when they get a hot one, when they get a hot new wife, and one wife's getting fat and they're not feeling themselves, but the new hot one is like, oh, I love doing yoga. They'll be like, fuck that bitch. That shit is the best. That shit is the best.
That's so weird. I find it so odd. And no guy is that good that multiple women are just like, I'll take a portion of his time. And
100% agree.
no one's that good.
100% agree.